Okay, today's a great day in American racing. We're looking at Derby preps on both coasts, and they're going to meet in the middle in Kentucky in a few weeks. So I've already done the Wood Memorial, and I'm looking at the Santa Anita Derby now. Santa Anita Derby is a grade 1, 750. In my Road to the Roads stable, I got candy, chocolate candy, Pioneer of the Nile, and the Pamplemousse running. My dad's got Take the Points. And I kind of like Mr. Hot Stuff. But we're going to go through it. Chocolate Candy is a homebred Jenny Craig horse whose husband had just passed away. And this horse has a very competitive horse. He's in every race. He's been beaten by Pioneer of the Nile and I Want Revenge by less than 2 lengths. Came back and won his next 2 stakes. Has enough money for the Derby and looks to be a Derby contender. So I'd expect this horse to finish in the top 3 in this race, possibly win it. Z-Day is going to be the rabbit for Pioneer of the Nile to ensure the Pamplemousse isn't just completely loose on the lead. This is a sprinter out of the Zayat stable, and you can throw him out, but he's going to be a major factor in the race. He's going to ensure that the Pamplemousse doesn't get loose on the lead. It's also going to give us a chance to see the Pamplemousse rate a little bit, which I'm kind of looking forward to seeing. Unbridled Roman. This is a horse that has done his best running against State Bred Company on the poly track at Santa Anita. Looks to be a relatively competitive horse. The race that he ran against these contenders in the Sham, he was beaten soundly 9 lengths. Aside from that, he's been competitive in every race. But stepping outside of the Calbreds, I think that I'm going to have to leave him off the ticket. Pioneer of the Nile is a major Derby contender. I've got Gomez, Baffert, and Pioneer of the Nile on my Road to the Roses. And this horse doesn't need to win this race. He's got plenty of money to get into the Derby. And he's working well. I think that a lot of times these horses, they go, he's preparing them for the Derby. And, he doesn't need to win here. So there's a chance that he doesn't win. And it's not going to really matter. Although he's working very well. And he's going up against some very tough horses. So Baffert is as good as anyone in getting his horses ready to run big on Derby Day. So I would expect this horse to be very competitive, but I don't know that he needs to win this race. So as a gambler, he's going to be a huge favorite, low odds, maybe a smart play to go against him in this race. Although I am rooting for him for my Road to the Roses online tournament. We come to Mr. Hot Stuff. This is going to be a kind of a wise guy horse. Mr. Hot Stuff is a tiz now out of Windstar Farms. Windstar Farms has just won the World Cup. They won the Lanes End that I had attended, and I went to the Lanes End with my family. I like Mr. Hot Stuff in this race. I'm going to see how he runs. I mean, he was beaten pretty soundly by the Pamplemousse, but he did make a late run to run 3rd. So we'll see if he keeps himself a little bit closer than he was in the Sham. And if he does, he could be catching on. This horse can be getting better. And if he continues to improve, that could put him in the top 3 in this race. Feisty Suances is a horse who ran 2nd to Pioneer of the Nile. He had an inside trip. He came out, was 3 wide, and ran, it says in the notes, willingly. He ran very hard against Pioneer of the Nile. Pioneer of the Nile did just enough to win. I actually like that horse and believe I hit the exact in that race with Feisty Suances. In this race, I'm not so sure, but he could be someone to put in your 4th spot on your superfecta, because he seems to be running very competitive. His only bad race, he got beat 5 lengths. He still was 4th against Chocolate Candy at Golden Gate. So he was outside of Southern California there, and it was the only race he wasn't on the board. So he could be a horse to look at. He could run better than I'm suspecting, someone to take a good look at. He's a cheap horse, and he's a front-running horse. So I think that compromises his chances under these circumstances. However, he's very competitive. Take the Points is a horse that came into the Sham off of a maiden and a non-winners of 1 allowance victory, and he ran very well. I mean, He ran second to the Pamplemousse at 1.125 and looks to be improving. So this horse has a chance to step up. If you also look at his breeding fee is $7,500, and he sold him for $160,000. You know, you're talking 20 times your stud fee. That means that's a good horse. So he's dangerous. Cape Truth is a Kentucky-bred Cape Town horse who 7 furlong maiden victory with Garrett Gomez up, and then on the turf at a mile, 134, gets beat only 3 lengths, yielded late. So he was in the race all the way to the end. Maybe this horse is more of a sprinter. I'm going to leave him off my ticket. Looks to be a stakes caliber type sprinter though. Galleon Sun is another cheap horse who has been fighting along pretty well here. Maybe more of a turf runner. For me, leaving him off the ticket. Although you got Bejarano, who, you know, he's riding Papa Clem, our sentimental favorite, and so he's got his Derby horse. So we'll see what this horse does, but he'll probably be coming late, and if there's an early pace, he could be a horse that gets a piece of the action late. And then it comes to the Pamplemousse, who's coming into this race firing bullets, working hard. He was 4th in his first maiden victory, and they went 108 flat. Next race, 6.5 furlongs, he runs 3rd. And then once they started stretching him out a little bit, mile and a 16th, he breaks his maiden, comes back to San Rafael, lights him up there, and then and he beats Square Eddie, who I think got hurt in that race. So Square Eddie was a second, I believe, in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year. And then you come to the Sham, and he just lit him up in the Sham, beat a couple of horses that I really like. So he's a front runner. He's a Derby horse. He's got enough money to go to the Derby, though he's going to ensure that today if he hits the first, second, or third. So for my money, I'm probably going to put something together with kind of working it around Mr. Hot Stuff and Windstar Farms, as they are so hot right now, and Chocolate Candy. And, you know, obviously I'm going to have the big horses involved there, but I'm looking for a price, and in this particular race might not have much of a price out there. So I would take Mr. Hot Stuff, take the points, Chocolate Candy, and try to work them into a trifecta, leaving one of the favorites out. But this, again, this is a great race to watch, difficult race to handicap. I have sentimentally, I'm looking for Pioneer of the Nile, but I'm expecting Mr. Hot Stuff to run a big race here. So keep an eye out for him and enjoy the races. If you have any comments on these races, you could leave me a video comments. You could leave me emails. As we're getting a couple weeks from the Derby now, we want to really break this stuff down. Come Derby time, I have a formula that I've always used for the Derby, and all my track buddies know about it, and it's very successful. I mean, it's gonna narrow down who has the ability to win the race. That may be 5 horses, it may be 2 horses, it may be 8 horses. It depends. Each year it's different, but there's a formula that goes in, and you know, this is the first time in the Derby that these horses go 1.25 miles, and there's certain things that they have to have done in the past in order to get the distance, and this formula will kind of break that down. So we'll be on every weekend now until the Derby, and I'll be sure to break down each horse Derby time and go over my formula. So good.